I bet you didn't know that 90% of the wear and tear your engine goes through happens in the first few seconds after you turn the key. That's right, that initial startup could be secretly causing harm right under your nose. Ever wonder if you've got some bad habits that are cutting your car's life short or setting you up for a massive repair bill? Well, today, we're going to expose the most common blunders people make when starting their cars, and I'll show you exactly what to do instead to keep that engine humming for years. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share could literally save you thousands of dollars. 1. Back off the starter motor. Alright, let's kick things off with a classic mistake: holding the key in the start position for way too long. It feels like you're helping it, but you're actually doing some serious damage. Your car's starter motor is built for quick, powerful bursts. We're talking 10 to 15 seconds, tops. When you keep cranking away, that motor starts to get incredibly hot. This puts a ton of stress on its internal parts, and at the same time, it's sucking the life out of your battery like a vampire. Do this enough times and you'll burn out the starter completely. Then you're not just stuck, you're looking at a tow truck and a repair bill that'll make your eyes water. So what's the right way to handle a stubborn start? If your car doesn't fire up after about 5 to 10 seconds of cranking, just stop. Let it sit for at least 30 seconds, maybe even a full minute. This gives the starter a chance to cool down and avoids that nasty overheating. If it still won't start, it's time to play detective. The problem is likely something else. Maybe you're not getting fuel, your spark plugs are shot, or the battery is just too weak. Just remember, cranking until the battery dies won't fix the real issue. It just adds a new one to the list.
2. Don't ignore the warning signs. This one's a biggie. Paying attention to what your car is telling you before you even drive off. You wouldn't ignore a fire alarm, right? So don't ignore your car's alarms either. Those strange noises, a clicking, a grinding, or a high-pitched whining sound when you turn the key are all cries for help. That clicking sound? That's your battery screaming that it's either dead or has corroded terminals. A grinding noise is often the sound of a dying starter motor, and a whine could be your alternator begging for attention. Then you have the dashboard, your car's control center. If you see that battery light, the oil pressure warning, or the dreaded check engine light pop up, it's not a suggestion, it's a command. Starting the car and driving off anyway can turn a small, fixable problem into a catastrophic failure that leaves you stranded on the side of the road. So what's the smart move? If you hear something weird, investigate. If a warning light comes on, grab your owner's manual and figure out what it means. Sometimes the safest thing to do is not to drive it at all until a pro can take a look. A little bit of caution now can prevent a whole lot of damage later.
3. The pre-flight check. Think of this like a pilot's pre-flight check, but for your car. Before you go anywhere, especially on a long trip or if the car has been sitting for a while, you need to check its vital fluids. We're talking engine oil, coolant, and even transmission fluid. These fluids are the lifeblood of your vehicle. If your engine oil is low, you're essentially letting metal grind against metal inside your engine, which leads to overheating and, well, a completely destroyed engine. It's a nightmare scenario. Same goes for coolant. If that level is low, your engine can overheat in minutes, which could mean a blown head gasket or a cracked engine block, repairs that cost thousands. To dodge these disasters, just pop the hood. Pull out the dipstick and make sure your engine oil is within the recommended range. It should look like clean, amber-colored honey. Check the coolant reservoir to see that it's filled properly and the fluid is clean. And while you're there, take a peek at the brake fluid and transmission fluid. A few minutes spent on this simple routine can save you from a world of hurt and a mountain of repair bills.
4. Powering the essentials. Let's talk about something that's often out of sight, out of mind, until it fails. The drive belt. You might know it as the serpentine belt. This long, rubber belt is the unsung hero that powers almost everything essential in your engine bay. The alternator, the power steering pump, the air conditioning, and often the water pump. If this belt is frayed, cracked, or loose, it's a ticking time bomb. It could snap right after you start the car, and suddenly you've got no power steering, your battery isn't charging, and worst of all, your engine is about to overheat because the water pump has stopped working. It's a chain reaction of failures. So make it a habit to give that belt a quick visual inspection. Look for any signs of wear, like cracks, fraying, or a shiny, glazed appearance. Give it a gentle push. It should have just a little bit of flex. If it feels too loose or too tight, or if you see any damage, get it replaced immediately. Most of these belts are good for somewhere between 60,000 and 100,000 miles, but catching a problem early is always the smarter and cheaper option.
5. The spark of life. Your spark plugs might be small, but they have one of the most important jobs in your engine, creating the spark that ignites the fuel and air mixture. When your spark plugs are old and worn out, that spark becomes weak or inconsistent. This can cause misfires, a rough start, or the engine might not start at all. And even if it does start, worn plugs will absolutely tank your fuel economy, increase your emissions, and can even cause damage to other parts of your engine over the long haul. So how do you stay on top of this? Check your owner's manual. It will tell you when your spark plugs need to be replaced, which is usually every 30,000 to 100,000 miles, depending on the type. If you're already noticing symptoms like a rough idle, sluggish acceleration, or you're just having a hard time starting the car, your spark plugs are the first thing you should check. Look for a black, sooty coating or a rounded, eroded electrode. Replacing spark plugs is one of the most affordable and straightforward maintenance jobs you can do, and it makes a huge difference in how smoothly your car starts and runs.
6. Waking a sleeping giant. So you've got a car that's been sitting in the garage for a few months, and you're ready to fire it up. Hold on a second. Just turning the key on a car that's been hibernating can cause some serious damage. Over time, fluids break down, rubber seals can dry out and crack, and the gasoline in the tank can go bad, clogging up your fuel system. The battery has likely lost most of its charge, and there could be corrosion on the electrical terminals, preventing a good connection. If you manage to get the engine started with all these issues, you could be looking at overheating, fluid leaks, or even a complete engine failure. So here's what you do instead. First, do a full inspection. Check the oil. If it looks dark or gritty, change it before you do anything else. Check the coolant level. Test the battery with a multimeter and either charge it or replace it. Check the tire pressure. If the car has been sitting for over 6 months, you should seriously consider draining the old fuel and putting in fresh gas. And finally, pop the hood and look for any signs of pests. Mice love to make nests and chew on wires in cars that don't move. Once you've done all that, you can start the car and let it idle for a few minutes, just to let everything circulate and to listen for any strange noises. A little prep work here will ensure your car wakes up happy and healthy. And that's a wrap for this one, folks. Hopefully these tips help you keep your car starting strong and running smoothly for many miles to come. If you found this guide useful, do me a favor and hit that like button. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on more tips to save you money. Check out one of the other videos on your screen right now, and I'll catch you in the next one.